Welcome to the Dr. Janine Show. I'm Dr. Janine Bowring, naturopathic doctor, and today we're talking about vitamin supplements and are they good or bad? I will be discussing all of the hidden ingredients, so some of the fillers, the flow agents, the artificial colors, the preservatives in our vitamin supplements. If you weren't aware after today's show, you certainly will be made aware of the things to look for, and you might sort of second guess as to if you should be, ingesting these on a daily basis in your so-called healthy and natural vitamins. So it's a great show, so stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some great demonstrations as well so that you fully understand what I'm talking about and you can see with your own eyes why it's so important to avoid some of these toxic ingredients in your vitamin supplements and exactly what to be looking for. So stay tuned for the entire show. Close to the end of the show, we always have our trivia section. So today from our great sponsors at VitaTree, we will be drawing for this. So just by participating, you don't have to get the quiz questions correct. Just by participating, you will be entered in to win this for free, sent to you from our great sponsors at VitaTree. So stay tuned for that. It's always so much fun. If you watch my previous episodes, you know that I often will take my questions from the previous episodes. So if you missed my episodes, everything is archived on YouTube, so make sure that you check it out. Make sure that you're following me as well. If you're not on yet TikTok, follow me at Janine Naturally on TikTok and also on Instagram at Dr. Janine. So it's great to have you all here. Hi to Instagram Live. Hello to all my TikTok followers, and of course on Facebook and YouTube as well. Also, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. So my YouTube channel is fantastic. There are over 1,000 videos now on my YouTube channel. So make sure that you're subscribed because you'll always get notified when I either am uploading, and not just me, but my team is uploading one of my videos, and that happens every single day of the week. So there's a ton of great content. So make sure that you check it out. Okay, so let's get right into it. So vitamin supplements, the good, the bad, and I'm going to say the ugly as well. And here's the big problem with the fillers. So in terms of the labeling guidelines, and whether this is in Canada, in the US, our labeling laws are very similar in other countries. They have different, stipulations for labeling laws, but for the most part, most of the labeling laws are quite consistent. And one of the things you want to look for on your vitamin labels is something called the non-medicinal ingredient. So you're going to look for that. Those words, they're usually bolded and in capital letters. We can see it here, non-medicinal ingredients. And this will give you the list of all of the extra things that have gone into that formulation of the vitamin. So these are called excipients. They are the fillers, and I'm going to show you what some of these fillers look like today. And typically they will be listed in descending order, so from the most used filler to the least used. But here's the problem, and it is required by law that they are actually listed on the label, but not how much. So where you see the medicinal ingredients in most countries, like here in Canada and the US, you have to specify exactly how many milligrams or micrograms of that vitamin, herbal supplement has gone into the capsule or the tablet. But with the non-medicinal ingredients, the manufacturer does not have to disclose exactly how many milligrams or micrograms of that non-medicinal goes into that supplement. And we know, and I've done the math because I've looked at, I know exactly how much, give or take, will fit into a certain size capsule in terms of the raw material to fill it up. And unfortunately, a lot of companies are using up to 85–95% filler to fill up the capsule. So to give you a visual of this, if we were to, fill up a capsule with those great raw materials, the vitamins, the herbal medicines, and this is your capsule, then that's what should fill up your capsule. Now, what the other companies are doing is that they are using these fillers, and I'll show you what some of them look like. So often it's a white powder, and they can be using, so you can see here, you still see some of those, the active raw materials is the green, but that white stuff is the filler. So, and that's what they're using to fill up the capsules or to make the hard tablets. And the hard tablets, I'm sure you're familiar with in, different vitamin products, those hard tablets are condensed with a lot of these fillers, and it's something that you need to be aware of, something that I am going to give you the specific list of which ones to look out for, and more importantly, what they can do to you. I mean, in terms of having negative side effects because your body's actually reacting to these fillers. So it's really important to know this information. For the first time, when I often describe this for people, people just simply have no idea. And a lot of people have asked me over the years, I mean, being a naturopath, when they took certain vitamins and supplements, whether they were not always just, the drugstore brand or the ones you can buy in the big box stores, but even the most expensive ones, some of which I unfortunately did used to prescribe, the expensive professional brands, they still have these fillers. So it's not like, you're really, saving yourself, even if you buy a very expensive vitamin, if it still contains these non-medicinals, these, the fillers and the flow agents. So that's why I'm educating you about it, so that you can make that better and wiser choice for yourself when you are choosing a vitamin product or a herbal supplement to take, so that you feel better. At the end of the day, you take vitamins, you take supplements to feel better, and maybe to cover up some of those deficiencies that you may have and help to boost your energy levels. So often you may not be feeling well from a vitamin, and that could be because of all these fillers and flow agents. So here's the thing. Now, in terms of the excipients and the fillers, these can actually interact with the medicinal ingredients that are supposed to be making you feel better. And there's a question now as to the actual dissolution or the absorption or the bioavailability of these nutrients when it's got some of these fillers and flow agents on the outside. And I'll be doing a great demonstration to show you, of course, why you may want to think twice about, actually ingesting these, because it can dramatically decrease the actual absorption of those vitamins and those herbal supplements if they have some of these flow agents. So there is, again, a lot of question as to the actual safety of ingesting these. There hasn't been a lot of studies done on this. I mean, there's not, in terms of one of the flow agents, which I'm going to show you, which is the magnesium stearate. There's never been a long-term human study done on the safety of actually ingesting this. And imagine, and I've talked to numerous people that were taking, 5, 10, 15 supplements, vitamins on a daily basis, and when they actually checked their labels, that it actually contained that magnesium stearate. So, if you're having 1 or 2 supplements, maybe it's okay. I don't think so. Ingesting any amount of toxin in your body, in my opinion, is not the safest thing to do. So, and here's the other thing, is that most pharmaceutical drugs also always contain all of these fillers and flow agents. And if you think of most tablets and some of the pharmaceutical drugs, they're either the hard tablets, and often, so they're compressed, so they need that filler to get it into this hard tablet form, or they're in, the synthetically colored capsules, the gel caps, which again, and we'll talk about colors in this episode as well, how they can have a negative impact on your health. So here's the thing about, I'm going to show you now some of the most common fillers that are found. So here's the big one. So please, after today's show, check your vitamin labels, and here's the one that is most commonly used, is the microcrystalline cellulose. And if you see, it's a white, fluffy sort of powder, which is really great to bulk up those capsules or to fill up capsules. But again, this will compromise and actually dilute the efficacy, because now if there's a lot of filler in the supplement that you're taking, they're just by, by volume, sheer volume, now there's going to be less of those medicinal ingredients, and that's why they use it, to make it look like you're getting a great deal and having a ton of, capsules per bottle, but really you're having and you're actually ingesting and paying for this filler. So this is something that you definitely want to look for in your supplements. Another one is plant cellulose. So again, on vitamin labels, they try to make it look a little bit more natural, calling it plant cellulose, but it is still this cellulose, and it can be, a little bit compromising to digestion, because it is a plant fiber. So at the end of the day, it's like a fiber supplement. A lot of people who have inflammatory bowel conditions, they do have compromised digestion, and this can cause some irritation in the gut. So that's something you definitely want to look for. Another one of the binding agents or fillers is lactose. So this is the sugar, as we know, that's found in dairy products and milk. And for people that have a sensitivity or an overt allergy to, and GI symptoms as related to dairy products, you have to be aware of this. And this is why, you really have to read your vitamin labels really well, because again, it could be offsetting what's going on with your digestive tract. Another common one used in terms of binding agents is called calcium carbonate. So that again will fill up tablets and those capsules, as well. And another thing to look for are the hydrogenated oils. So you've heard me speak before about things like, the PUFAs, the polyunsaturated fatty acids. So these are usually made from genetically modified soy, genetically modified sunflower oil, genetically altered corn oil. So again, these are very inflammatory and not so healthy for you. So it's something, again, that you're not aware of. So please look for those hydrogenated and even the trans fats that are slowly being removed from, and especially the partially hydrogenated fats, they have been removed from the marketplace, and this was a process that took a few years in the US and Canada. But please do check your vitamin labels, because it can still have some of those inflammatory fats, and if you weren't aware of this, it's not necessarily something that you were looking for. So if you're just tuning in, welcome in. I'm Dr. Janine. This is the Dr. Janine Show. It's nice to see all of you on YouTube, Facebook, and on Instagram Live, and hello on TikTok. So remember, stay on after the show, because I will continue on with my Instagram viewers and my followers on TikTok to answer more of your questions if I can't get to them during the show. Today I've got a lot of information to get out to you and to show you, certainly the demonstrations as well. So that's really important to stick around, and don't forget, we have our quiz section coming up when you have the ability to participate and have a lot of fun with us, like we do every Monday here on the show. Okay, so we'll continue now. So now, flow enhancers and lubricants. So this is something that the industry actually uses in order to help with speeding up the timing of, the stickiness of certain ingredients as they can stick to the machinery. So in order to prevent the clumping, in order to get some of those raw materials very quickly into capsules, decreasing production times. This is what the pharmaceutical industry uses, but also the vitamin industry, in terms of this dissolution and the flow enhancing, and it's something that will definitely act as a lubricant to help to speed up those production times. So the big one, and I'm going to demonstrate the issue with this one that I take big issue with and have for years and years, and I've educated a lot of people on television about magnesium stearate. So magnesium stearate is a chemical, and it's something that you need to be aware of, that if it is in, your vitamin supplements, it may say vegetable magnesium stearate. It is a widely used excipient in both the natural, so the nutraceutical industry, but definitely in the pharmaceutical industry as well. And what it does is it helps to speed up. So again, a lot of these, ingredients are very sticky, and to speed up the production times, the industry will use these to get things into the capsules more quickly. But it's never been tested in terms of long-term human consumption, in terms of safety. So is this actually safe? And it has been reported in people that are sensitive to this that it can cause some gastric irritation, it can cause rapid heartbeat. So again, you wouldn't necessarily know that your vitamins are causing these types of symptoms and causing some gastric distress and some irritation in the gut, and it's actually related to the magnesium stearate that you could be taking in your so-called healthy vitamins. So let me do a great demonstration, which if you've seen me on television, you've seen me perhaps do this before. And let me just make some room here. But this is, in terms of magnesium stearate, really important that and then you can really appreciate what is happening here in terms of potentially compromising even the absorption of what you're taking. And here's the thing about the magnesium stearate. So if you were to go and check the material data safety sheet for magnesium stearate, it actually says that I need to be wearing gloves just to handle it. So imagine you're ingesting this in small amounts in your vitamins, in your minerals, and in your herbal supplements. The material data safety sheet for this commonly used household cleaner is very similar to that of magnesium stearate. So just to give sort of a perspective in terms of, you know, safety, in my mind, safety concerns potentially with, you know, taking something like this. Okay. So we know in our, you know, grade school, maybe high school, the whole acid plus a base. So here I have some vinegar and I also have some baking soda. So we know what's going to happen here. You know, the acid and the base combination, we have the whole volcano situation happening, and that's exactly what I would expect with the baking soda with the vinegar. So that's normal. Now, what I've done here is I still have that baking soda, but in order, and we know that baking soda is a little bit sticky, it's very difficult to get into the capsule. So imagine this is a vitamin. In this case, it is our baking soda, but I've used a little bit of that magnesium stearate. So again, this is the flow agent that's commonly found in most of the supplements out there. So I've used a bit of the magnesium stearate, mixed that with my baking soda to make it more of a lubricant. It's more lubricated, it's slippy and slidey, and it got into the capsule so much easier than if I were just to try to get it in on its own. So again, this is just baking soda, a little bit of that magnesium stearate, and I have vinegar. So again, baking soda plus vinegar, you would expect the same type of chemical reaction to happen. But when I open this up now, you can see that because the baking soda is coated with the magnesium stearate, we don't get the same kind of chemical reaction. So that's because now it's coated. So that magnesium stearate has done its beautiful job of coating, you know, that ingredient. But the same is true in the vitamins, and that's why now the baking soda, you're not getting the same type of chemical reaction because it's coated with the magnesium stearate. So the question is, for supplements that contain, you know, the magnesium stearate, how well are they actually absorbed? If they are coated with magnesium stearate, how well is your body actually absorbing these nutrients? And that's the question that I ask you. So when people say that vitamins don't work, this is one of the reasons that potentially you're not absorbing and you're not getting the full, you know, the goodness out of the vitamins and the supplements that you're taking because they contain the magnesium stearate. So just food for thought. I'm just, you know, giving you that information. I'm going to move this back now so that you can understand that in the vitamin industry, this is really common, and just read your labels and you make that decision for yourself when you are, you know, ingesting your vitamins. Is that something that you still will choose to ingest in your body? Now, another one that is very similar, but a little bit different to the magnesium stearate is something called silicon dioxide. So this may be something that you're familiar with in another setting. So I always say, ladies, when you get a new pair of shoes, the guys as well, or the guys more so with maybe their electronics, and you see, and in some vitamin packages as well, and protein powders, you'll see this silica gel, but it says right on there, do not eat, and we have it in a few languages there, nicht essen in German, a few languages there, so no matter where you're watching from today, but you're not supposed to eat that, and the contents is the silicon dioxide, so which looks like this, and it's a desiccant, and again, it's not meant for ingestion, but when it is now powdered down, this silicon dioxide can be found in your vitamin and mineral supplements and in your herbal medicines as well. And it acts as an anti-caking agent. It's also used as a thickener. It helps to preserve the shelf life and can also help to carry the flavors in your vitamins and supplements or other foods. So this is actually found in some health foods as well, which is crazy. So this is something that I experienced more recently. I went to the health food store and I bought this little itty bitty box of keto, so keto friendly low carb crackers, and they had cheese, and I thought, whew, and I was in a rush that day, so I didn't, do my due diligence like I usually do, like a total nerd, and like check every single ingredient. So I was in a rush, brought it to the office, and I thought, I was looking forward to these low carb crackers. These things are hard to find, right? And then sure enough, I really did the nitty gritty and I looked at the ingredients, and it contained silicon dioxide, and I just pitched it in the garbage. And not to mention it was like $7.50 for this little box of crackers, but I didn't care. I just threw it away. And that's when you start to educate yourself. It can be a double-edged sword, let me just say, because you start to really pay attention to what you're putting in your body, but on the other side of it, you'll feel so much better. So this is the silicon dioxide. So just be aware of this. Look for this on your vitamin labels as well. Now it's very different from silica. So silica is naturally occurring. It's found in plants, and this is naturally abundant in the Earth's crust. This is the chemical form, the silicon dioxide, and unfortunately this is the one that they use in most of the supplements. So again, inhalation of this has been known to cause lung cancer. It can be in nanoparticles, which is carcinogenic and can damage our ecosystems as well. So that, there's more concerns beyond just our own health, but in terms of plant life and our oceans as well when we talk about nanoparticles. So just so that you're aware. And now the sister, which I call the sister or the cousin to the silicon dioxide, is something called titanium dioxide. And it's in its chemical form is titanium, so Ti and then O2. It's also known as E171. It's also called titanium white, and this is a common whitening agent. Again, can be found in processed foods, but it can also be found in so-called natural foods, and it's both classified as a natural ingredient but also synthetically made, and it can be found in things like paints, plastics, as well as in rubber, in printing ink, in high quality paper, wax paper, cosmetics, sunscreens, and this is where you have to look for it because it can be a nanoparticle here as well as in coffee creamers, cakes, other baked goods, and of course in vitamins and supplements. So when it is a nanoparticle, this can be very dangerous in terms of being a potential carcinogen, especially to humans. Some of the rat studies have shown that if it's inhaled, it can cause upper respiratory tract cancer. So again, it is of concern, and it has been known to actually damage DNA. So we do have a study that will show you in terms of the DNA damage that was, again, linked specifically to the titanium dioxide. So we're going to pull that up and show you that. So here we see it. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see all of these things. So here this shows that the combination of zinc peroxide and titanium dioxide nanoparticles and their effects on the DNA damage in terms of protein integrity and causing marginal DNA damage. So any amount of DNA damage, of course, is not a healthy thing. So again, buyer beware and I want you to look for this on your vitamin bottles. Also causes inflammation in the small intestine. So in this study, we can see that the titanium dioxide induced inflammation in the small intestine, and many studies have revealed that exposure to titanium dioxide can cause adverse effects in terms of generating reactive oxygen species, so free radical damage, inflammation, tumors, cytotoxicity, and apoptosis, which is the death of cells, and specifically relating that to Peyer's patches, the lymphoid-rich, so that the Peyer's patches are in the gut, and this has a lot to do with the immune function in the gut and can lead to inflammation and also the pathogenesis of inflammatory bowel disease. So again, people who are ingesting their vitamins and unbeknownst to you, you have IBD, IBS symptoms, and you're ingesting things to hopefully make you feel better, give you more energy, and yet if it contains the titanium dioxide, it could be making things worse and actually causing more of that inflammation. So something I really want you to check your vitamin labels for is that titanium dioxide. It was actually banned. So Europe is a little bit ahead of us here in North America. It was banned in France as of January 2020 in terms of, you know, the addition of titanium dioxide, not in just cosmetics and, you know, foods, but also in supplements. And just recently, so 1 month ago, on the 18th of May, 2021, the EU unanimously made the decision to ban the use of titanium dioxide. So that's going to be phased out in the next, it takes a few years to phase out an ingredient like this, but it's still allowable here in North America. So it just makes you, you know, question as to the safety. So really do your own due diligence to make sure that you're not ingesting this in your vitamin supplements. And I want to just say that there are vitamins that do not contain any of these things. So this is something that you really, you know, need to do your own research on. We will share links below to help to guide you, and links to the studies as well, so you can do your own reading. If you're like me and you like to do all of that, you know, geekiness and the nerdiness in terms of reading about the studies and things, we'll share the links below as well. Now, another one of these flow enhancers and lubricants is talc. So this is known as magnesium silicate. It is carcinogenic. Certainly in the beauty industry has been removing it for years, but it still can be found, and it should be avoided. So if it is in your supplement, you know, the toxicity has been linked to the risk of pulmonary toxicity. So if it's inhaled, that can be very dangerous for your lungs, but also the topical use of it has had, you know, a lot of bad outcomes. So this is something that you definitely make sure you're reading, again, the non-medicinal ingredients, the excipients in your vitamins. Another one is polyethylene glycol, so PEG. So this is found in, you know, not only supplements, but also in some injections. So that's something that you definitely want to be more aware of. Some people are aware of this, some people not so much. So that's another one to look for. So PEG, as well as coatings and glazes. Now these are also used to help to hold supplements together, but also to make them easier to swallow. And this, you know, often you'll be able to pick them out very quickly, you know, that in terms of the bright coloration. And this is something that also helps to prevent the deterioration from water and moisture. So it can also ensure, so when you hear about time-released vitamins, it allows, and that coating allows for the breakdown in the small intestine. So it sort of bypasses, it's sometimes called enteric coated, it bypasses the stomach acid, and so that it can get to the intestine. So again, knowing that those special coatings are not always the healthiest thing for you. So great example is, you know, probiotics sometimes will have this enteric coating. It's not always the way you want to go, in my opinion. You want to find strains of probiotics that are naturally in their own, you know, nature, that they, because of the strain themselves, they are able to bypass that stomach acid. That's something to look for as well in a probiotic. Now, another type of coating or glaze is called HPMC, so it's hydroxypropyl methocellulose. Say that 5 times fast. I mean, that is a mouthful. So again, anything that looks like these big chemical names should probably sort of question and sort of ask yourself, well, is that something that I really want to be ingesting? So if you're just tuning in, welcome in. I'm Dr. Janine Bowring. Nice to see you. Hello on Josh. Nice to see you on YouTube. And this is so great to see you all here on Facebook as well. Thank you for tuning in. And today we're talking about vitamin supplements. Are they good or bad? And we're talking about some of the ugly ingredients as well. Now let's talk a little bit about the preservatives. So some of the most commonly used preservatives that, yes, are still found in supplements are parabens. So this is something that, you know, I want you to look for on your label. It could be labeled as methylparaben, ethylparaben, propylparaben, butylparaben, and this is definitely a potentially harmful substance. So you can, you know, definitely do your searches on this, and you may find that this, you know, and some of the negative connotations that go along with the paraben. Certainly in the beauty industry, this is something that over the years has been started to, you know, get on your labeling, you'll see that it's paraben free, but this isn't always happening. And what they do is, in terms of the preservatives, is they help to extend the shelf life of that supplement. And one of the common ones that I talked about in my previous TikTok was chlorophyll. So chlorophyll often will have something called potassium sorbate. So most liquid supplements, if you're taking them, will often contain potassium sorbate. And again, in my opinion, this isn't something that we should be ingesting as humans. It is potentially a toxic, ingredient that you definitely don't want to be ingesting. So next, we will talk about coloring agents. So helps to improve the appearance of supplements. We know that in some people's opinion, I think they look terrible. I mean, the more color that's in something, the less natural it looks to me. So it's something that I always, have always been not the biggest fan of taking anything that looks that unnaturally colored. And in, this study, we can see that the combination of the food colorings was actually tested, and they were trying to determine if there were any adverse effects that existed. And here we found in this study that the artificial coloring and the relationship with hyperactivity in children, so they did in two groups of age groups, the 3-year-olds and then the 8 and 9-year-olds, and this was a randomized double-blinded placebo-controlled study, and they definitely found that cross-reaction with these artificial colors and that increase in the hyperactivity in the children. So that's something definitely I've always educated all of my parents, moms and dads that came to see me, if their child was displaying, symptoms of hyperactivity, was to get them off of all of the usually it's in the candy, but it can be hidden in other food sources as well, the artificial colors. And we're going to go into some of the specifics of those in just a second. The study found that, that ingestion of those artificial colors definitely increased that hyperactivity in both of those age groups. So, one of them to really look for is called FD&C yellow number 5. So this is the yellow candies, anything that has yellow, and it has something called tartrazine. And tartrazine has known to cause a lot of bad reactions in specific individuals. So for people that are sensitive to tartrazine, actually the FDA now makes any manufacturer of vitamins or foods that contains the FDC yellow number 5, that it contains tartrazine for the sensitive individuals, because it can cause a rash, it can cause asthma, and it has known to cause behavioral changes as well, so causing things like irritability, restlessness, and even sleep disturbances in children. So it's something definitely to get the kids off of these artificial colors, but adults as well, excuse me, can be reacting. Okay, that's a lot of talking today. Here we go. Also, FTC red number 40, so this is known as Allura red, and this has been linked also to behavioral but also physical toxicity. And when it was fed to rats in animal studies, the rats displayed significantly reduced reproductive success, so we're talking about fertility here, also weight, so their weight changes, brain weight changed as well, and survival in terms of, their overall survival rates was definitely affected. So that's something that in terms of, the rats were actually continuously having issues with running on their wheel as compared to the, and usually you hear it the other way, that, they become more active. But in terms of the, the coloring, they had less of an activity. So that was interesting. Now, FD&C blue number 2, this is known as brilliant blue, and excuse me, also indigotine, and this has been linked to asthma in one study, also multiple symptoms of ingesting the FDC blue. So that's something that, again, whenever you may have sensitivity to these things, these are things that you definitely want to decrease from your diet. Okay, I think we want to say hello really quickly to my TikTok followers. Nice to see you. Question about polydextrose. Yes, not, again, one of my favorite ingredients. Thank you for asking. And Daniela wants me to talk about yes, unbalanced hormones and irregular periods. I will definitely be talking about that if you stay on TikTok after the show. We're going to be getting to our quiz section in just a second, so that will be fun. And make sure that you're tuned in. So nice. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in. This is fantastic. Make sure you're sticking around because we're getting to our quiz section in just a second. So, talking about that blue food dye, and they actually found and poor rats, but when they actually injected the blue food dye into rats, it actually produced, 2 years after those injections, produced fibrosarcomas at the site of injection. So that, tumors. So not that you would be injecting these, but again, it makes you question if you are ingesting these artificial colors in your supplements. It's something to think about. And now we'll talk a little bit about some of the flavors and the sweeteners, so more things to look for on those vitamin labels. And of course, they help to improve the taste, but they are labeled as artificial flavors on the product label. So there are natural flavors, which definitely are better, but there are over 2,000 different chemicals that are used to make a wide range of these flavors. So, and the sweetening agents. So some of the ones to look for that I least like are sucralose, acylfame, potassium, aspartame, and xylitol. So xylitol is a sugar alcohol. This is very fatal for dogs. So just, be aware if you have products in your home that contain some of these artificial sweeteners and the flavor agents as well. Another one to look for is maltodextrin. So if you've watched me before, you know that I favor monk fruit and I favor stevia, but make sure if you are going to choose to go with these more natural sweetening agents that they don't contain maltodextrin. So this is D-glucose polysaccharide, and it is something that is rapidly converted to glucose in your bloodstream. So this, even if it is, and here's the thing, you wouldn't realize maybe you're diabetic, you're pre-diabetic, you're watching your carbs, you're decreasing your sugar intake to help to keep your blood glucose levels low, but you're taking your stevia and it has maltodextrin with your stevia. Well, guess what? That's going to spike your blood glucose, and you're actually not doing everything that you thought you were doing to help with your blood sugar, and maybe you're doing keto or whatever. You're trying to lose weight, then make sure that you're looking for that maltodextrin. That's really important. Also, there could be a concern for celiacs because maltodextrin is supposedly has its gluten removed, but that isn't always the case, and it is derived from wheat and sometimes corn products, the maltodextrin. So just being aware if you are celiac to look for that ingredient as well. Now, some of the other flavors and sweeteners in terms of vitamin supplements can be MSG. So this is monosodium glutamate. Again, it is a flavoring agent and it is very neurotoxic, so can be very damaging to the brain, and also crosses the placenta and can induce some, nerve damage. So that's really important to know. Some people do experience tingling and weakness. They can also have upper back and issues and neck issues and flushing of the skin when they ingest MSG. So that's really important to note. And some people even go as far as having heart palpitations and intense thirst. So this is sometimes why certain types of food that have MSG makes you very thirsty. That could be because of the monosodium glutamate. And other artificial flavors. So this has been studied in hyperactive kids back in the 70s. Dr. Feingold was famous, and he was an allergist that proposed, years ago that these artificial flavors, colors, and even salicylates can cause and be the cause of hyperactivity in children. And this is, definitely, he was highly respected, and since this time, people and doctors that were aware of this connection have definitely taken their patients, their, pediatric patients, off of these, allergenic types of substances, if you can say that, because of their reactivity in terms of their, their hyperactivity and how they were feeling. So hello on YouTube. I want to say really quickly, hello to Geisha and Marie, nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And on Facebook, Harvarinder, nice to see you. Joyce Ann and Kathy, nice to see you as well. Thank you for tuning in. And hello to everybody on Instagram and everybody on TikTok as well. Nice to see you. Okay, we're getting to the fun section in just a second. So when we talk about disintegrants, these are some of the other things. I'm just going to list them really quickly here in terms of things to look for. So definitely sodium starch glycosides. glucosilate, cross-carmylose sodium, and this can cause, problems for, especially if you're on a carb-restricted diet. If you have a lot of inflammation in the gut, this can help to feed some of the bad bacteria. So if you have SIBO or Candida issues, the cross-carmylose sodium is one of those things that I really want you to look for. Also, cross-povidone. So this is another one of those disintegrants that you have to look for. Some of the thickening agents that are used, this list keeps getting longer and longer, and I promise that we'll put together a list for you, and we'll post that on Instagram so you know exactly. It's too hard to remember everything, so you know exactly what to look for, and we'll be posting that so that you have it. Gelen gum. So this is a food additive. It's used in some of the nut milks and soy drinks, in almond milk, which is one of the things that I didn't realize before, to help to keep it in suspension. So, trying to find an almond milk that doesn't contain, whether it is the carrageenan or the gelen gum, is very difficult. So it's also used as a thickener and a stabilizer in supplements. So something to also look for on your labels is that gelen gum. And this can affect your transit times and can, again, cause that inflammation in the gut. Now, other things to look for: emulsifiers, also preservatives. So we talked a little bit earlier about the sodium benzoate, and citric acid is another type of preservative that I don't like. Can be very irritating because it is a strong acid. Also, toxins you have to be aware of in some supplements. So fish oil or EFA supplements are notorious for having pesticide residues, but also PCBs, dioxins, and mercury. So you have to really do your due diligence. This is something that, big lawsuit was filed in California in 2010, and that people filing the suit were claiming that the warning labels should state that cancer risk should be labeled on fish oil supplements because of, the inclusion of the PCBs and, that toxicity relationship with causing cancer. And here's the scary thing: that testing done by Consumer Reports, if you've heard of them before, in 2011, showed that 1/3 of fish oils that they tested had high PCB levels. So this is something that, again, you've got to do your due diligence. Fish oils should always be molecularly distilled to make sure that any of those toxins, the PCBs, dioxins, mercury, have been removed in that processing. So that's really important, and a thing to ask for when you are purchasing, a high quality fish oil supplement, to make sure that it has been molecularly distilled. Okay, so here's my tips. So here's the 9 tips to choose the best vitamins, of course, that don't contain these fillers, flow agents, and of course synthetic nutrients, which we talked about last week. If you missed that show, make sure you check it out. So tip number 1 is to make sure that you're selecting products that are natural and from whole food sources. So if it says on the label whole food, that's definitely a better way to go. Tip number 2 is to make sure that you're reading the labels and look up anything that sounds or looks suspicious. So pure and simple ingredients is what you're looking for. If it's something that you can't pronounce very well, then quite likely that is a chemical filler or flow agent in that supplement. You definitely want to do your own research, look up what that ingredient is. I will give you the warning, though: a lot of websites out there, when you are in the big search engines, they will make it seem like it's a very natural, very safe ingredient to ingest, but just look and dig a little bit deeper. If you do have questions, please leave them in the question and comment section below this video on YouTube so that we can definitely get back to you and shed some light. Okay, tip number 3 is to choose supplements, of course, that don't contain any fillers, flow agents, colors, fats, and the hydrogenated fats, sugars, artificial sugars, and those preservatives, especially the flow agents as well, like magnesium stearate, silicon dioxide, and titanium dioxide. This is definitely, you can find them, but it's something that you definitely want to be looking for. Tip number 4 is to ensure that the supplements that you are consuming are tested for the contaminants, so that they don't have the pesticides, of course, the PCBs, the dioxins, and that heavy metal toxicity. Tip number 5 is to make sure that if you are going to purchase the essential fatty acids, so the fish oil supplements, to ask the company to make sure that it is molecular distillation, so that it's gone through that process to remove all of those toxins. Tip number 6 is to make sure that there's a GMP certification, which means that it's gone through vigorous quality control, and that's something that you definitely want to look for on your vitamin and supplement labels. Also, tip number 7 is who stands behind the product. I mean, who is the formulator? Have they done the research? Where are they coming from? You know, is it mass produced? Is it in smaller batches? Has that testing been done? These are the types of questions you can definitely get information about from the supplements that you're ingesting. Tip number 8 is to avoid the hard tablets. So whenever it's a hard tablet, in my opinion, it's not something that should be ingested. So you always want to look for clear capsules that are definitely either vegetarian or, you know, based in a formulation that your body agrees with in terms of, you know, being a bovine source or a regular gel cap, a bovine or a pork source. And that's up to you, certainly, but there are definitely, you know, ways to not have to ingest these hard tablets, and vegetarian source gel caplets are usually made from tree bark, which is good to know as well. And tip number 9 is to use your intuition. So follow your gut instincts when you are choosing, you know, from a reputable vitamin company, that you are using your God-given gift, Mother Nature's gift, to, you know, tune back into nature, follow your intuition, and take something that is trusted for you and your own body. Okay, we got to the quiz section of the show. So remember, so I just want you to participate. So you don't have to get any of the questions correct. As long as you participate, you are entered in to win from our sponsors at VitaTree. This is the Acu blood sugar balance. So we have information about this in, you know, in terms of leptin levels, in terms of balancing blood glucose levels in other programs, so other shows here on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. But this is a great win for our lucky winner, whoever gets this. Okay, here we go. Am I set up? Let's see. I'm going to get all of my, thank you, all of my devices here. So we are tuned in. So I've got my YouTube, I've got my Facebook, and I have my TikTok and Instagram. I'm going to hear you in my ear. Are we ready? Is everybody ready? I hope everybody prepared for this week's quiz questions. Okay, question number 1. Name some whole food sources of vitamin C. Some whole food sources of vitamin C. Who has been paying attention? Welcome, welcome. Okay. Ross is fast. Ross is fast. And that's on YouTube. Okay, Instagram has it. TikTok has it. I'm seeing, yes, Melbird. Whew, Melbird. Those are the answers I like. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Anybody else? Kathy's here. Yeah, we have on Instagram, we have a few great examples. Nice to see you. Anybody else? Kathy, I think it's spelled correct on the Facebook. That's good, though. I know what you mean. Anybody else? TikTok is fast today as well. Good job, everyone. Okay, so any other takers? Some great whole food sources of vitamin C. Right, good job. Good correction, Melbourne. I knew what you meant. Okay, and thank you for all the likes. I see likes coming in. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, that's awesome. Oh, Pilot Wifey lacks. We will talk about leptin resistance. There's never a moment I don't want to talk about leptin resistance, so stay on after the show. We're almost done with our streaming on YouTube for the show. Okay, so the answer is, for question number 1, here's some of my favorite ones. So camu berries for vitamin C, acerola cherries, amla berries, kiwi. So thank you to Ross, was right. He was very quick on YouTube with the kiwi. Good job. Sweet peppers as well. Any type of pepper is high in vitamin C. So again, when you're looking for a vitamin C, if it is in a supplement form, you want to look for these types of ingredients on the label, not the ascorbic acid, which is usually chemically derived synthetically from genetically altered corn, or high fructose corn syrup. So just buyer beware. If you missed last week's show, make sure you check it out and you'll learn all about the synthetic forms and what to look for. Okay, so let's go to question number 2. Name the synthetic B vitamin that can cause flushing. This is a little bit trickier. Name the synthetic B vitamin that can cause flushing. Again, we talked about this last week in last week's show. If you were here, oh, Aisha was here as well. Yes, I see her. Aisha was here on Facebook. Thank you for answering the previous question. Somebody has it already? TikTok has, oh my goodness, TikTok. I'm not even looking. TikTok, Clarissa, wow, Melbird, wow. Sparkly Warbler has it on Insta. Insta, Sparkly Warbler. I love that name. That's awesome. Ross, good job. Yes, Rebecca, good job. Aisha, good job. Fantastic. On Facebook, on YouTube. Everybody's so active today. This is so great. TikTok and Instagram. We got it on all 4 platforms. Okay, so the answer is niacin. Yeah, that's the synthetic B vitamin that can cause flushing. Not always recommended. Again, I'm very much, not into taking synthetic vitamins myself. So yeah, make sure if you missed last week's show that you take a look at that. Okay, question number 3. True or false? Synthetic vitamin B12 can contain cyanide. True or false? This one's way too easy. Synthetic vitamin B12 can contain cyanide. Anybody? True or false? Okay, Ross has got it. TikTok's got it. Yep, Steve, you've got it. Very good. Melbird. Veronica. Sparkly Warbler has it on Instagram. D-Organic? Diva Organic. Woo, that's a good handle name. Nadia has it as well on Instagram. Good job, everyone. Aisha, Kathy, good job. Rebecca, good job. Harvarinder, good job as well on Facebook. Marie, hello. You've got it. Good job. So the answer is, anybody else? Any takers? Clarissa, good job. They stream a little bit more slowly for me on TikTok, so forgive me if I don't see you on time. Yes, so the answer is true. So yeah, so beware of that one. I mean, just look at those vitamin labels very carefully. Vitamin B12 can be called cyanocobalamin. It's bound to cyanide. Okay, question number 4, another true or false. Formaldehyde is often used to make synthetic B vitamins. Formaldehyde is often used to make synthetic B vitamins. True or false? Jay Karsha, good job. Kelly, Steve, Clarissa, Malbird. Anybody else? Tony, good. I think Tony's in UK, I believe, from last time. Nice to see you, Tony. Thanks for tuning in. Anybody else? Okay, here we go. Marie, good job. Aisha, good job. Kathy, good job. Facebook has got it. YouTube has got it. TikTok definitely has it, and Instagram has it as well. So yes, the answer is true. So formaldehyde, again, is often used to make synthetic B vitamins. So again, that's why maybe we don't want to take synthetic vitamins. Okay, question number 5, final quiz question. Name 2 good vegetarian food sources of vitamin B6. Tony, yes. Oh, yes, 413 Mend. I know, I get that all the time, that I look like Lisa Kudrow from Friends. I get it all the time, but I'm not. I'm Dr. Janine. Nice to meet you. Who can give me some good vegetarian food sources of vitamin B6? Aha, Melbert. Very good, very quick. Anybody else? B6, really important for female hormones, amongst other things, but vitamin B, the B vitamins are great for stress. Sparkly warbler, good job. Anybody else? Sarah Ugg. Ross, good job. Kathy. Salmon usually isn't vegetarian, but we'll take it for kind of ish, pescatarian. Clarissa, good job. Tony, some, yes, yes. Marie, good job as well. Anybody else? Aisha, vegetarian. Last I checked, pork was not vegetarian. But good try. What's that? Yeah, it's some kind of people's vegetarian. Depends how you define vegetarian, I guess. Okay, Veronica, nice job. Hello, DC Integrated Health. Nice to see you. We're on, yeah, you should know this. Some vegetarian sources of B6. We're on our last quiz question of the day. Anybody else? Okay, let's list them out. So sweet potatoes, bananas, potatoes, avocado, pistachios. So nuts and seeds typically will have some vitamin B6, and chlorella, which is the blue-green algae. Spirulina will have some B6 as well. So nutritional yeast is another source. So yeah, great job everybody. Thank you so much for participating. So yeah, all of your names just for trying to answer a question. We'll put those into our random selector, and you have the possibility to win the blood sugar balance. So this is great. Congratulations to all our previous winners and to the winner for this week's draw for this. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. That was great. I hope that you learned a lot about, what to look for in terms of the fillers in supplements. I promise we will put together a post for you to show you, exactly the, that you can see it. I'm a very visual person, so that you can actually see what those ingredients look like on your vitamin labels, so that you can definitely, make sure that you are either choosing to continue to ingest them or to look for something much better. So if you're new to my channel, welcome in. I am Dr. Janine. That was the Dr. Janine Show. Today we talked about the fillers, the good and the bad things in vitamins, and what to look for in terms of your vitamin labels. I appreciate if you've got questions or comments, please do put them in the comment section below. Please share this video as well. Give me a big thumbs up and all those nice things that you can send me in terms of TikTok. That's always so much fun as well. Don't forget to stay on the line, TikTok and Instagram Live. I'll stay on and answer a few questions for you in just a moment. And if you're new to my channel, welcome in. Make sure that you subscribe and you turn on those post notifications by clicking that bell, so that you're always notified of my newest and latest uploads, which happens every single day of the week. And remember to always take good care of your health and do it naturally. Thanks for watching today.